pay for the airport to expand
Yeah.
and build their fourth runway and stuff.
Yeah,
And they had plans for that runway, it was gonna go right through the middle of Round Mine.
yeah,
So when the Americans left there in the mid-90s, the fourth runway went in amongst other things.
well, they still have their little detachment there over at Ryan Air Base. And
We're on.
Yeah, but then most of the air base left anymore.
Call meeting order. It is now 5 p.m.
Oh, I'm like we having fun.
Sure does.
Yes, man.
Let the record show that all members of the Plattsburgh Municipal Lighting Department Board are present. Councilor Kelly has been excused. He's been on vacation all week. The first order of business, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of the July 29th, 2021 meeting.
motion.
Councilor Canales, second by Councilor Bob. Any changes, deletions, or updates? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 2, financial report.
Yes,
Yeah, please.
I have the chart in there, and you can see August was a fairly good month. Our revenues exceeded our expenses. So far, everything is going fine. We are busy trying to.
Did we get a chart? I didn't get a chart.
I didn't print a big chart. We had none.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, that was in the supplemental data package.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. You can see the revenues is exceeding expenses. We're busy right now working with customers to get their accounts back up to date. The ones that weren't paying during the
Excuse me.
governor's emergency. State has come online with different programs to help people who are eligible for heat. They got different, 2 different programs they've got going to help them pay their arrears of their utilities and in their rental. And those programs will keep going into next year or until the money runs out, whichever comes first. So, but so far we're catching everything up and it's going good. So money-wise, we're in good shape.
Any questions about the financial report?
Mm-mm.
Seeing none, I will take a motion. Oh, let's see, a motion to approve the PMLD wheeling operation instructions.
No, you're up at the top second page.
Sorry, what have I done?
You took two.
Oh, sorry, departmental reports. Apologies.
I hate this mess. Sorry, man.
Wait, do we approve the financial report?
Yes.
We do. Okay, great. I'll take a motion to approve the financial report as presented by Bill Tracy, Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Canales. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Departmental reports.
I did have in your package, work in progress, stuff that we've done over the last 2 months. I don't need to go through it. It's pretty self-explanatory what it is. We've got quite a bit of work done in the month of August and September. Probably one of the more interesting things we did was Penfield Park. There's a bit of a problem with the parking lights there. The first light in by this Boynton Avenue, we purchased a solar wind turbine light that the underground is shot. So we've installed that there and it seems to be working good. Many of you may have seen similar lights that are at the Army Reserve parking lot up on Route 9 there. The only difference is this one's white, they're all black, brown. The IEP projects, most of them being completed. The big one I think you're interested is the windows. I was just talking to Matt Miller, that's moving along. The contractor was here earlier this week, taking some final measurements, and he's hoping within the next month or so they'll start replacing windows. We've also submitted the first bill into IEP to pay for this project.
Right.
And we also. Excuse me?
No, it's me. He's offering you some water.
Oh,
Good.
Just wearing a mask all day since 7 o'clock this morning, and now I'm all like,
The only pretty much new project from the last time is we're in the process of having mini splits being installed in Fire Station 1. And the mini splits are a combination heating and electrical system. The state has been pushing them all over the state because they're more energy efficient and so forth. So Hogan Refrigeration is doing the installation
Are
work.
those ones rated for below 0 degrees?
There is a rating below, I don't have it up hand, but it's on there's an approved list
Okay.
that NYSERDA approves, which the IEP also uses, and those units were on that approved list.
Okay.
Which I think does take that into consideration. In fact, we have it in this building for the finances have it for like the last 2 years,
Okay.
and I haven't heard any complaints, knock on wood. I'm a little too superstitious at times. And that's pretty much all I have, Mayor. Is there any questions?
Any questions about programs or projects? Okay. All right, number 4, Plattsburgh MLD wheeling operation instruction policy. Take a motion. Sorry, Counselor Gibbs, second by Counselor Canales. Discussion, please.
Yeah,
No,
why are
this-
we doing this?
oh, what's that?
Why are we doing this?
Well, we talked about this at the last PMLD meeting, and it was a wheeling policy and
It's gonna be a
Director-
city policy, yes.
right, and so you came up with a more like an instructional
Yeah,
procedure, that's what it's
that'd be just
called.
a guideline, if somebody approaches the city, what we would need to do. One day I will be gone, and somebody may not be familiar with the process, and this would be a guide, a map of what they would need to do.
Right,
So we decided to make it an instruction instead of a city policy.
right, so we rejected the idea of a wheeling policy, and Bill
Yeah,
came
because
up-
there's a lot of complications. I know
Right, and
state
so-
Heavily regulates that sort of thing.
It's New York ISO is involved in it big time. It's the feds that are really the big regulators on this, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, because it involves transmission lines, and that's their area. Though the Public Service Commission sometimes argues about that, but typically it's their germane in this process. But yes, it is. When you have this process, there is a lot of engineering design work and a lot of legal work that has to be done.
so what this does is not adopt a policy, but rather a set of instructions on what to do if we're approached by, right, am I understanding that correctly?
You-
If we're
you are
approached by
correct.
somebody who wants to pursue the wheeling policy with us, this is instructions on how to do that. Is that right? Am I explaining that right?
You're explaining that right.
Okay,
And the city council and the mayor would have to decide, is it worth for the city to even get involved in this? Because these contracts tend to be long-term, 25, 30 years. A lot of things could happen in 25, 30 years.
indeed.
So you have to really look it over and go through everything and make a decision. Do you really want to go down this route? So that's why I said it's basically a roadmap, a guide. The final analysis would be up to the council once the legal and engineering folks explain what this all involved.
That makes sense.
Thanks.
Any further discussion on that? I mean, is this a policy that needs to have council approval, or is this one thing that's just on in your kind of? booklet of
I just
things?
put it to file it on file down at MLD.
Okay.
I mean, the council can vote, yes, go ahead and put it on
Okay.
file.
We had a motion in a second, correct?
Yep,
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. We have a number of bid awards. Do we want to go one by one, or can we kind of bulk these together as one award?
You did that last time, Mayor, or Councilor Kelly did that last time.
If it pleases the council, I'd like to move all 5A, 5B, 5C together. Can I get a motion? Motion, Councilor Canal, second by Councilor Bob. Please discuss this.
Discuss, oh,
The bids.
okay,
Bid awards. Yep.
the first item is a dump truck. We're replacing a dump truck that's 20 years old, rusted out. It will come with a snow plow and stuff for us to plow our substations and everything. We got a similar one last year. Our fleet is pretty old, so it's time to start replacing. 5B, we're looking to obtain a line truck. We're replacing one that's about 25 years old. This one's what they call a hybrid line truck. And what that is the engine is a diesel engine that moves the truck down the street and so forth. The hybrid portion is for the hydraulics function, the bucket, the winch, the outriggers and so forth. Normally with the trucks we have today, when we drive to a location, we have to leave the diesel engine running in idle in order to power the boom and everything else on there, all the hydraulic stuff. What this does is we can shut down the engine at this point and we run off battery power. Typically the battery will last 8 hours. When we come back, we plug it in overnight and with a level 2 charger and it recharges for the next day. A number of utilities are doing that right now. So you cut down the amount of running time on the diesel engine. You also cut down on the emissions. And basically from what I've read over time, that's where your savings comes in. Less diesel fuel used, less wear and tear on your diesel engine and other components.
The price comparison between a traditional truck and this one, what's the price difference?
There's about a $65,000
Okay.
price difference.
Jeez. Over the lifespan of, and the capital, the depreciation schedule for something like this is how long? 15, 20 years? What?
We usually keep these trucks, like the truck it's replacing, we've had for 25 years.
Okay.
Most of our trucks are now 15 and going beyond 15, so
Uh-huh.
we will be replacing them over the next couple of years.
Okay.
The problem we have these days is the supply chain is
Yes,
really messed.
yes.
Typically, when we would order a truck at this time of the year, we could expect it in June and July of next year. However, the bidders that were in this have told us anything anywhere from 18 to 27 months out.
Uh-huh.
So we might not see it till the first quarter of 2024.
Wow.
I hope we see it in
So
2023.
you allocating the funds now with the anticipation that they'll be
Well,
expended then?
it would be paid out of our depreciation account.
Yep.
Hey, Bill, would those trucks have the capability, like say the battery did run down, say you had a big emergency or whatever? Can you just run the diesel to
Yes.
power it back up?
When there's a switch on there, the driver can switch it back to diesel mode and he can keep using the bucket.
Great.
So, but typically you'd be using the battery power to do everything. And like I said, it cuts down on pollution and diesel exhaust and so forth. This will be our first in this arena.
Anybody else doing this?
Other utilities have them.
Close? Close?
Sure.
Anyone close?
No, they're out in the west. The company said if we approve this, they will bring one of they're going to a show to display this particular vehicle,
Uh-huh.
and they will bring it back for our guys to go look at and play with. But the other utilities I have talked to, they're very much in favor of this.
And how long have they had this kind of machine?
They've had them for like 3 or 4 years.
And have they seen an overall savings in fuel costs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know we've been talking about a electrification policy. I think one thing that as part of that policy is in terms of trying to measure efficiency and savings. Part of it is measuring miles per gallon, but as well as fuel used in the year as a measurement of whether or not we're trending in the right direction. So however many gallons of diesel you've used, for a particular vehicle like this, measuring that again over the next year and figuring, is there an actual savings in that?
I would say there would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's assumed that will be, but.
Yeah, because you're not running it continuously like we are now.
Right. I think fundamentally, if we're gonna spend $65,000 extra, we wanna also quantify it with something.
Well, I think I have a source of
65,000,
65, so I'm not,
Okay,
so.
and that's just this is not just, I'm not just picking on your truck, I'm saying if we're gonna do this, if we're gonna create a policy and move forward with some type of policy throughout the city, we certainly want to quantify the extra expense for an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle,
Well.
one way or another.
Being, I was on that video exchange
Yeah.
about 2 weeks ago, and the environmental person for Monroe County was on there. They've had a number of electric vehicles, straight, totally electric EVs, and somebody asked him, well, how's the maintenance on them? He said he had talked to his maintenance guy before he got onto that Zoom meeting, and he said, the guy has told costs have gone down significantly. The engine compartments look like the day we got the vehicles, because you don't have the soot or the oil stains and stuff, because you have no oil, you have no spark plug, you have no fuel tank, no transmission. Oh, you don't have the transmission, but you have no exhaust system, so forth and so on.
Yeah.
And he said, the costs, you get the basic maintenance stuff, like changing tires and so forth. I know somebody had a question about batteries. We have 2 Ford hybrids that we got in 2011. They're still running today. They still have the original batteries in them. The batteries today are a lot better than they were 10 years ago. And they're constantly improving them. So it's a continuous improvement along there. And I don't know, like some things, some vehicles, especially when you get into bigger vehicles, you got to wonder about the expense. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of it, but Con Edison has the only all-electric line truck in the country. This Munster they bought was a little over $800,000. It takes 2 level 2 chargers 8 hours to recharge all these batteries.
Whoa. That's a lot.
If we had it here, we couldn't, it's so big and wide, you probably couldn't get down half the streets of Plattsburgh with it. My guess is they're keeping it out in the, like Queens or Westchester County, where it's a little bit more rural. They're definitely not gonna run it in Manhattan.
Right.
But they got, I don't know if they received it yet, but they're using it as a pilot to decide if they want to buy 6 or 7 more of these things. But that's, buying that thing for 850 is equivalent to almost buying 3 regular line trucks.
All
So,
right. Thank you.
but probably 20 years from now, it'll be a fraction of that cost, if it works.
Right. The last one was acknowledging that there were no bids for bid number
Yes.
2021-8-1.
We're gonna put that out to bid again. That's the first time we've ever got a bid on it. I talked to the contractor who was doing it now. He had called somebody for information. That person never called him back. And it wasn't me, so, and then he forgot all about it.
Uh-huh.
The other 3 I have, that we sent bids out, I have no idea. They normally always bid on it. But I've heard one of the problems is, last year when the COVID was involved, they laid off a number of their crews because people didn't want outsiders coming in for testing and so forth. And now they're trying to hire them back, and either they've moved on to other jobs or they're doing something else, and they can't get people. So that is the problem.
Okay. Any further discussion on these 3 items?
Mm-mm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Item 6, again, monthly, bid requests. I'd like to, if it so pleases the committee, I'd like to package these and move these together.
Motion.
Take a motion, Counselor Canales, second by Counselor Gibbs. Discussion. You're on, buddy.
Oh, I'm on, okay. The first one is our wooden poles, 45-foot and 55-foot poles that we use around the city. We haven't bought them in 2 years. Our supply is starting to get low. Again, with the supply chain, it used to take us about 24 weeks to get them. It may be 2 or 3 times that length now. So that's why we're putting the order in. We're not in desperate mode yet. We'd like to make sure we get these before next summer. Hopefully we will. And the other one is we're going back out to bid. There's nothing changing with the oil testing. There's nothing changing. It's the same specification that we've used about 8 or 9 times prior. And we've had bids. Like I said, this was an oddball that we didn't get a single bid.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Item 7, monthly write-offs, and again, if it's so pleased with the council, I'd like to package these together. Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Canales, discussion.
Though these don't seem much higher than we usually have, because we've been getting collections on the people who didn't pay during COVID.
It's getting a little bit better, but I mean, we've had some people vanish into the night. And it seems to be the ones that are vanishing also didn't pay their rent. And their landlords are starting evictions and they're not sticking around, they're vanishing and with no forwarding address. It is a little bit higher than normal, but with the governor's order that we could not turn anybody off for non-payment, some people took that advantage of that. Interestingly enough, a lot of people that received money from the state, heat money, they also didn't bother to submit their request to heat to get paid because they felt they didn't need to do anything. The governor said they couldn't be turned off, so they wouldn't be bothered. Go figure. I mean, I was on a conference call with heat a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't just in the Plattsburgh area, but the whole state was the same thing. They got a large sum of money from the federal government, which funds heat, but not very many people applied because they couldn't be turned off. So they didn't want to, I mean, in most cases, all they have to do is make a phone call to their counselor at social services, answer a few questions, and the money would be sent out to the utility to cover the bill. But I guess for some people that was a lot of work. I don't know how else to explain it. So we're required by the Public Service Commission to do these write-offs. Now, for your information, the actual debt or bills do stay within the computer system. And unfortunately, since March of last year, usually if they're still in the area somewhere and we have a good address, we can usually get a court judgment against them for payment. Now, if we get a judgment, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to pay, but the next time they try to buy a car, buy a house, a boat, or whatever, get credit cards, when they get their credit report, the court reports them to the credit bureaus, and that's usually when they show up to pay. And then they have to pay interest on the amount of time from the debt and so forth. We've had people come up to 9 years later to pay, a little irate because that we turned them in, but we do get our money. Not on everybody. I mean, if they leave the area, the court only has jurisdiction for people within Clinton County. So if they move to Florida, there's nothing we can do about that.
Any further discussions on the write-offs? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Is there any old business that's come before the committee? Is there any new business come before the committee? Seeing no persons to address in the board, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Canales. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned. It is 5:20.